What's up, everybody? Mic should be good. Let's see here. Okay, mic's good. All right, we should be good. Should be live. We got a little morning stream. Sunday morning, NFL. Probably just going to focus on NFL today. I don't think we're going to really take many NBA questions. I haven't really even looked at the NBA slate today. I'll do that after this stream. But we got an NFL slate to talk about. We're going to answer some questions. We'll definitely build out a slip and give out some plays and talk through some plays I like for this NFL slate. I've already given out some plays on YouTube. I gave out plays on Patreon yesterday, but I'm going to try and find some new ones that I haven't posted anywhere to share specifically for this stream. But yeah, guys, hope you guys had a good Saturday, and let's try and make some money on this NFL slate. So a couple plays that I'm looking at for today that I haven't shared anywhere else that I was just going to wait and give out on this stream. First one, let's talk about that I do like. So Mitchell Tinsley is going to step into a bigger role today. T. Higgins is out for the Bengals, and we've seen T. Higgins miss a couple games this year, I believe. Let's see here. So T. Higgins was out. He was out 2 weeks ago. And in that game, we did see Mitchell Tinsley play 67% of the offensive snaps. He did go over this fantasy score line. He had 10.9 fantasy score in that game. And if you look at his targets in that game, he earned a good amount of targets. He had 6 targets, 2 catches for 29 yards, and a touchdown. And then we saw, I believe Jamar Chase missed a game recently. Yeah, Jamar Chase was out against Chicago. He only had 3.7 fantasy score in that game, 1 catch for 27 yards on 2 targets. But the role has been growing for Mitchell Tinsley. He had 6 targets against New England. Last week against Baltimore, he had 9 targets. He's been earning more targets as of late. And now, without T. Higgins, I'm expecting Mitchell Tinsley to play probably 60 to 70% of the offensive snaps. He's pretty much going to be the wide receiver 3. Really, obviously, Jamar Chase is his biggest competition for targets. But like outside of Jamar Chase, it's going to be Andre Yoshivas, Mike Gesicki, like Noah Fant, like guys that are not high target earners. There's definitely a chance that Jamar Chase gets like 15 targets today, and they just throw him the ball like every play. But I think Mitchell Tinsley is going to have the opportunity to produce here. I think he gets like 5 or 6 targets, 6 fantasy score. I feel like this line's a little bit low on Tinsley. I think he projects for like 3 to 4 catches, maybe like 2 to 3 catches and like 30 yards. Maybe he gets into the end zone. Like I think there's just enough ways he can go over this fantasy score line. This was a play that I was liking already. I was actually going to give this out on Patreon, but I decided not to, just because there was other plays I liked, as well. But for this stream, since I haven't posted this anywhere, we're going to give this out on stream. I do like this play today. Mitchell Tinsley, more than 6 fantasy score. Just think he's going to be involved here without T. Higgins, and he's been able to earn targets lately, 15 targets the last 2 weeks. That's what we really want to bet on. We want to bet on that type of volume. He's going to have the opportunity, and it's a matchup against Baltimore, a team that typically you can beat more through the air than on the ground. It's also a game that has a high total. The total in this game is like over 50 points, so should be some offense here. Joe Burrow's back, obviously healthy. That helps Tinsley as well. So I like Tinsley more than 6 fantasy score. That's our first play. Next play that we're going to take a look at that I like. So we're going to take a look at Aaron Jones' fantasy score. So Aaron Jones playing in the Sunday night game against the Cowboys, 11.5 fantasy. I like the over on Aaron Jones. So Aaron Jones, he's been, splitting snaps pretty much all season with Jordan Mason. But as of late, we have seen pretty good opportunity for Jones. If you look at his game log, you see a lot of red, which obviously is not great, but the volume has been good. Last week against Washington, he had 14 carries. He had 76 yards, but he had no touchdowns. He had no catches. So kind of fluky there. The game against Seattle was a really tough spot on the road against Seattle. They lost 0-26. The offense was terrible in that game. The game against Green Bay, another really tough spot on the road at Green Bay. He did have 9 carries in that game. He also had 4 targets, so okay volume. And then against Chicago, 11.1 fantasy score. Really good volume in that game, just not great efficiency. 16 carries for 70 yards, 3 catches for 11 yards. Just went under this line, didn't get into the end zone. Obviously unfortunate there, but then did have a good game against Baltimore, 15.9 fantasy score, 9 for 47, also had three catches for 22 yards, did score a touchdown in that game. But Jones has had good volume as of late. He's just kind of run into some bad efficiency. He's also had 2 tough spots on the road at Seattle, on the road at Green Bay. Now they're facing the Cowboys, a team that you can typically beat on the ground. I think the Cowboys defense has been better against the run as of late, but still for the whole season, they're like top 10 in fantasy points allowed to running backs. They're also a team that gives up a lot of receptions and receiving yards to running backs, and that's where Aaron Jones can do damage, is in the passing game. He's a much better pass catcher than Jordan Mason is. And if you look at the spread in this game, Minnesota's 5.5 point underdogs. This could be a game where they're playing from behind. And I think in a game where they're trailing, that's going to set up probably better for Jones than it will Mason, just because Jones can catch passes. Mason typically not much of a pass catcher. There's plenty of outs here where Aaron Jones, gets 11, 12 carries for like 50, 60 yards, gets 3 to 4 catches, could easily go over this fantasy score line without a touchdown. But I think there's definitely a chance he could get into the end zone here. He hasn't scored a touchdown in like 4 straight games, but if there's a spot where Aaron Jones, I think, could get into the box, I think this could be it against a Cowboys team that is, fairly bad against the run. So I definitely like Aaron Jones to have a good game on Sunday night. I think 11.5 fantasy score. I think it's a little bit of a low line. I think this line should be like 13 or 13.5, especially with Prizepicks being full PPR. Like, there's definitely a chance Jones could catch like 4 or 5 balls here. He's favored for over 2.5 receptions. So, like, that just shows you the sports books, they're expecting Jones to catch some passes in the spot. And with his pass catching upside in a good matchup, give me over 11.5 fantasy on Aaron Jones. Next play, we're going to do a 3-pick. So this will be the last play. Ramondre Stevenson, want to talk about some of his props, his fantasy score. That line is set at 8. And I think that line's a little low on Ramondre Stevenson. So more than 8 fantasy score on Ramondre is the next pick that I like. And let's talk about this one. So last week, we saw Ramondre Stevenson return from injury. He had been out, I believe, like 2 or 3 games. Let me look at that real quick. Yeah, so Ramondre had been out 3 games, and then he returned in week 12, played 31% of the snaps, did not have a full workload. Last week, though, we saw Ramondre Stevenson actually out-snap Travion Henderson. Ramondre Stevenson played 58% of the offensive snaps, Travion Henderson 49%. So I don't know if that's going to continue. Like, I don't know if Ramondre is going to continue to be kind of the lead back, but they used him as the lead back last week. He got the first carry, like he started the first drive. Either way, you're going to see opportunity for both Travion and Ramondre, but Ramondre is still going to be involved a good amount. He's a guy that can be pretty effective on the ground. It's a good matchup too. Buffalo is a team you can definitely beat on the ground. This year, Buffalo, they're top 5 in fantasy points allowed to running backs. They've given up a lot of rushing yards to running backs. They've given up the most rushing touchdowns to running backs. Like, it's just overall a really good spot for Ramondre. And I think he probably projects to get 10 to 12 carries, maybe a couple catches. Like, that type of volume in this matchup, just 8 fantasy score just feels like a low line on Ramondre. And Ramondre can also catch passes as well. He's favored for 1.5 receptions. I mean, if Ramondre gets 10, 11, 12 carries, 2 to 3 receptions, he should have a pretty good shot at going over 8 fantasy score. That's assuming he doesn't even score a touchdown, which I think if they get near the goal line, they're probably going to give the goal line carries to Ramondre and not Travion. I could be wrong there. That's obviously, that's tough to project and to predict. But Ramondre should have upside for touchdowns here as well. Either way, 8 fantasy score for a running back that probably projects for 13, 14 touches. Just think that's a little bit of a low line, especially against Buffalo, a team that's been very beatable on the ground. So these are 3 props, guys, I like for today. Going to run this as our official stream slip today. Going to go ahead and place this lineup. And hopefully we can go 3-0 here, hit these 3 plays. But yeah, if you guys want to tell, feel free. These are 3 plays I like for today. I haven't shared these anywhere else. I didn't post these on Patreon, didn't post these on YouTube. So these are completely new picks that, I'm locking in right now. But yeah, what's up, guys? Hope you guys are all having a good Sunday. I'm going to start answering some questions, but I did want to go ahead and build out that stream slip, get that out for you guys. So that way, for those that wanted to tell, they could come in and tell that one. What's up, everybody? What's up, Parker? What's up, Bernard, what's up? Islay. Blackheart, what's up, my man? We got a member in chat. Appreciate you, my man. Appreciate you for being a member. Scooby says, Michael Wilson or Stephon Diggs? I'm assuming that's for like a fantasy league. I would probably take Michael Wilson there. I think Michael Wilson projects better than Diggs, even if you just like look at Prizepicks scoring. Michael Wilson projects for 14 fantasy. Diggs projects for 12. So yeah, they trust the projections there. I would ride with Michael Wilson. Bad matchup for Michael Wilson, but he's just getting so much opportunity right now with Marv out. Nico Collins, JSN longest reception. Haven't really looked at those. I don't really take longest reception props too often. Those are guys though that obviously have like that big play upside. I know Nico. I feel like he goes over his longest reception line a lot. Arizona, I feel like Arizona probably gives up big plays. I mean, I see why you like that one. And then JSN, I mean, yeah, JSN, he's always got that big play upside. And I feel like he's another guy that goes over his, am I spelling his name right? How do you spell his name? Jackson. I feel like he's another guy that just always goes over his longest reception. He didn't go over against Minnesota. I remember that game. But yeah, I get why you like those. Haven't really looked at those though. I feel like longest reception props are kind of I don't know, they're kind of fluky. You're basically relying on a big play. But I know there's some teams based off the defensive coverages they run, they give up more big plays, stuff like that. Chase Brown over 4.5 reception targets. I haven't looked at that one, but I know Chase Brown's getting really good pass game usage this year. I will say Samaje Perine is back, which that hurts Chase Brown a little bit. I think Perine's been back the last few weeks. So Perine's been back the last 2 weeks. I mean, Chase Brown's always been a good pass catching running back. Where are the Ravens at? I feel like the Ravens. Yeah, the Ravens give up top 10 in receptions and targets allowed to running backs. I don't hate that play. But I definitely think Samaje Perine being back is it's not great for Chase Brown, just because Perine's a good pass catcher, and in scenarios where they get in third downs, passing situations, 2-minute drill, they could have Perine out there and not Chase Brown. But last week, I mean, Chase Brown still played 67% of the snaps. But if you look at the games when Perine was out, Chase Brown was playing 96%, 82%, 89% of the snaps. He's not getting that type of usage anymore, but he should still be out there a good amount for the passing situations. Let's see. I don't know if maybe would take his receptions and not his targets, but that's close. That's a close one. What's up, OG Go? What's up, Texas Trill? What's up, my man? Texas Trill, I'll see you in the comments. You've been in the comments for a long time, man. I know you're a long-time supporter. I appreciate you. ALT for fantasy? Who is ALT? You have to, Trendy, comment who, I don't know who ALT is. ALT. Is that a... Yeah, I have no idea. I have no idea who that is. Can I post to Patreon? If you're talking about this stream slip, yeah, if you can post that in the Discord. If there's somebody in the Patreon that's watching the stream right now, yeah, feel free to post this in Discord. And you can just say that, this is Noah's stream slip for today, for NFL. What's up, Noah? How are you, bro? I'm doing good, man. Doing good. It's NFL Sunday. One of the best days of the week. I love NFL Sundays. And we got a good NBA slate today, too. Alternate for fantasy score. Okay. So, that's tough. Because, with Tinsley, they really only have... I mean, his 2.5 receptions is a demon. I don't know. I'm assuming his 1.5 receptions would be, heavy juiced. I feel like for Tinsley, I would take probably receptions instead of fantasy, if you can't take fantasy. feel like for 27.5 yards, he's probably going to have at least 2 catches to get that. You would think. I mean, this year, let's see. I mean, yeah, last week he had 22 yards, 2 catches, 29 yards, 2 catches, 27 yards on 1 catch. He's not really like a big play guy, so yeah, for trendy for Tinsley at least, I would take probably like over 1.5 receptions if it's not like too heavily juiced, or you could take 2.5 at plus money if you're like on a sports book. Aaron Jones, I would probably take rush plus receiving yards, just because it's a matchup where he can be really effective as a pass catcher. But again, I like fantasy score because for fantasy score you get a point per reception, and if Aaron Jones catches like 5 passes, that's going to be super valuable for fantasy score. But if you're making me take an alternative, I think for Aaron Jones, I'd probably go rush plus receiving yards if I had to pick something there. And then Ramondre probably would be the same thing, rush plus receiving yards. Yeah, probably would be the same thing there. Typically for alternate plays for running backs, it's usually going to be rush plus receiving yards. For receivers, it's either going to be, receiving yards or receptions. Tinsley, I think I'd go receptions. But there's a chance that they go over these fantasy score lines, but they don't go over the alternate lines that I'm giving out to you. So that's why it's always tough to give out alternate lines, because it's just not the same. Fantasy score is so much different because you get points for everything. Touchdowns, receptions, yards, all that. Phillip Rivers over 0.5 passing touchdowns. Dude, I'm torn on Phillip Rivers. They have Phillip Rivers' lines set so low, but I have no idea how this is going to go. Phillip Rivers hasn't played in the NFL in 5 years, but he has a ton of experience. So it's I really don't know. 7.5 fantasy score, you never see a starting NFL quarterback with a 7.5 fantasy line. He basically has to throw 100 yards and a touchdown and he'll hit that. But there's a chance he gets benched. There's a chance this just goes terribly. I really don't know with Phillip Rivers. I don't know how this is going to go. I think they're just going to feed the ball to Jonathan Taylor. We took a Jonathan Taylor over on Patreon. That was one of the plays I gave out. I think Jonathan Taylor's going to have crazy good usage here. And Phillip Rivers also historically has been a big check down guy. He'll throw it to his running backs a lot. So there's definitely a chance Jonathan Taylor could get 4 or 5 catches today. But how is Rivers going to play? I really don't know. It's a terrible matchup on the road. They're 14-point underdogs. But I'm going to watch. I'm definitely going to be tuned in to watch that just to see how Phillip Rivers plays. Thoughts on Donovan Mitchell 3-pointers attempted? I'll be honest, Kai and I haven't even looked at the NBA slate today. I'm going to do that after this stream. So preferably, if you could ask NFL questions, that would be better. Just because I don't want to answer NBA questions when I really haven't even looked at the slate. I'm rocking Jake Elliott over 2.5 PAT made versus Raiders. Puka 1 reception per quarter. Interesting. That's an interesting little slip there. The one reception per quarter. I've never tried those props. I haven't really looked at those. Rashid Shaheed over 3.5 targets. I do like that play. I saw that was available. Is that line still up? Yeah, that line still is up. I do like that play. The only thing I worry about is just the Seahawks get a big lead, and they don't really have to throw much in this game. But Shaheed's going to be out there for 50-60% of the snaps. He's going to run a route on most of Sam Darnold's dropbacks. He's typically been a good target earner. He's more of a big play guy, but he can still earn targets. So I do like that play on Shaheed. And something I like to do, let's see. Let me pull up Underdog real quick. So if you want to look at target props, a good thing you can do is to go on Underdog and compare their lines, because they also have target props. If I can get them to pull up. And I think they had Shaheed. Let's see. I think they had Shaheed on here. Yeah, they have him at 3.5 with a 0.77x multiplier, which basically means it's favored to the over. So that, that shows you that on Prizepicks at 3.5, there's some value there. So I definitely like to do that for like targets props, is kind of compare from underdog and Prizepicks. So yeah, whoever asked about that Rashid Shaheed play, I do like that one. Adonai Mitchell or Jaden Higgins for Fantasy League, that's really tough. Maximus, I think those two guys project very similarly. You've obviously got better quarterback play for Jaden Higgins. Who the fuck knows how Brady Cook is going to play? But I will say that the Jets are big underdogs. They're going to be forced to throw. Last week, A.D. Mitchell had like 6 targets, but he had like 1 catch. But he still got good volume. So it's really tough there. I think I'd lean A.D. Mitchell, but that's a tough one. Because I think those two guys both project like the exact same. Are you doing a basketball Patreon for today's slate? I hit big on the NBA Cup picks yesterday. I do plan on posting NBA on Patreon today, yes. And it'll probably go up, after this stream. That's when I'm going to start looking at NBA. So be on the lookout. If you're a Patreon member, be on the lookout for NBA plays posted like in an hour or so. Good pick on Stevenson. It's snowing in New England now. Is it the weather? I haven't looked at the weather for this week. I should do that. This is a great site if you really want just like quick weather reports for the NFL games. Just go to RotoGrinders, rotogrinders.com/weather/NFL, and they have a full weather report for all the games that obviously that matter. So it looks like the game that has the most impact for weather today is the Giants and Washington game. The write-up says, maybe the most interesting of the cold weather games. Heavy snow pre-game, should clear before kickoff. Not fully sure they can clear the snow in time. On top of that, some models are showing sustained winds. I think for today, a lot of the games are just going to be cold and windy. But like you said, snowfall in New England should start to taper off, clear around kickoff. While I do expect to see some in-game snow here, it doesn't look to reach the levels of heavy snow. Obviously, it's cold, temps freezing. Yeah, I think a lot of the games today are just going to be super cold. I don't know if there's going to be heavy snow though, where it really impacts play. But I mean, cold weather, that's definitely more of a running type script for teams than passing. But the weather, I mean, for Ramondre, I think it's fine either way, even if it was good weather or not good weather. Hey, no, love the live streams. Appreciate that, Denise. Appreciate that. Hope you guys do enjoy these streams. I really enjoy doing them. I do want to try and grow these streams. Obviously, for us to grow the streams, I'm going to have to stream more consistently, more regularly. But they're fun. I love coming on here, just talking with you guys, building out slips. Since you're DFS Go, I stopped playing for a while, but I'm back. You were the first I thought of for the plays. Damn, yeah, Texas Trill. If you've been watching since I was the DFS Go, then yeah, you're an OG, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate that long-time support. Is Kareem Hunt rush attempts a good choice? Let's take a look at those. So for Kansas City, so I know some of these games were without Isaiah Pacheco. So just, know that before you base off his last 5 games. So let's see. So the last 2 weeks, Pacheco's been back, but Pacheco's only played 30 and 33% of the snaps. Kareem Hunt has still out-snapped Pacheco the last 2 weeks. Let's look at carries. So last 2 weeks, Pacheco's 3 carries, 9 carries, and then Kareem's at 12 and 14. I mean, I feel like this is an okay play. The Chiefs are favored. They're at home. That's typically the type of game script you want to, for Kareem Hunt to get carries. You want him in a game where they're playing from ahead. In games where they're playing from behind, that's obviously not going to be good for the passing game, or for him to get rush attempts. But I will say the last 2 weeks, his carries have dipped a little bit, and that is because Isaiah Pacheco's back. They still have Rashard Smith as well, but he's not really been involved much. I feel like it's an okay play. I don't love it though. And I wouldn't, don't overreact to these games because some of these games were without Pacheco. I feel like 10 carries is probably an accurate line. Maybe it should be 11. I think it's an okay play. Don't love it. It's okay, though. Didn't even think of that. Yeah, you always want to look at, like... There's always going to be a reason a line is set where it's at. You know, even though Kareem Hunt's gone over this line in 5 straight games, they're setting his line at 10 for a reason. Mainly because, you know, Isaiah Pacheco's healthy now. If Isaiah Pacheco was out, Kareem Hunt's line would be like 14.5. But, you know, because Pacheco's back, that's another guy that could get carries. It's not a guarantee that Hunt goes out there and gets all the carries. You know, they could give Pacheco carries. So, like, yeah. You always want to be thinking about, you know, why is the line set where it's at? How you feel about Jackson Smith receiving yards? It's really tough with JSN. Like, his lines are always going to be set super high because he's just, you know, so good. I feel like 96.5, that's probably an accurate line. I will say it's a bad match, or it's not a bad matchup, but it's a bad game script. Like, this is a game the Seahawks project to win by double digits. So, like, I don't think they're going to be forced to throw a bunch, which has me a little concerned. But, I mean, you know, we've seen JSN still crush in games where, you know, the Seahawks have a big lead. So, I don't know, man. It's always tough with, like, these star players with their super high lines. Like, they're set super high for a reason. Could he go over this? He absolutely could. Could he go under? He could go under, too. Like, I really don't have much of a take there. I try and find... I think for props, I look for the guys that are seeing bigger roles. You know, maybe there's injuries that's leading them to bigger roles. For example, like the Mitchell Tinsley line. Like, it's always harder for the books to project guys who are stepping into new roles versus, like, you know, JSN, his receiving yards every single week is going to be like 95.5, 96.5, and it's like a coin flip if he goes over or not. Okay, we're getting inactives here for NFL. Rashad Bateman's inactive, so I'm glad to see that. We took a DeAndre Hopkins over. Quentin Johnston's inactive for the Chargers. That's kind of good for some of the Chargers receivers. I think Quentin Johnston's missed a game this year. Let's see. I wonder if they're going to pull these lines. So Quentin Johnston was out. That was week 6. So let's see. I want to look at this real quick. Go to the Chargers. Okay. So week 6 they were at Miami. Quentin Johnston was out. Obviously different matchup, but 9 targets, 7 catches, 100 yards, and a touchdown for Lab McConkey. And then Keenan Allen had 7 targets, 4 catches, 27 yards. I mean, yeah, man. Like, I like some of these Chargers props now with Quentin Johnston out. I think Keenan Allen, 5.5 targets over, looks pretty solid. I think Trey Harris overs look pretty good. Because he's the guy that should play more snaps. Yeah, 3.5 fantasy score for Trey Harris. I like that a lot. What did Trey Harris do in that Miami game? Where was his snaps at? Let me look at this real quick. So Trey Harris, 37% of the snaps the week that... Or no, excuse me, 83% of the snaps. Oh, yeah. What did he have in that game? 5 targets, 4 catches, 27 yards. I love this play. I love this. This might be one of my favorite plays today. Yeah, I think Quentin Johnston being out is like really good. Okay, they locked his receiving yards. I would still take fantasy score or receptions. Both of those are good. I'd rather have reception or fantasy score. If he catches 2 passes, I mean, he's probably going to get 3.5 fantasy. What about, let's take a look at Ladd and Keenan, because I think both of them really benefit here. Ladd's at 6 targets, 4 catches, 46 yards, 10 fantasy. I think those are okay. I think I'd rather take some Keenan props. 5.5 targets. Let's do another stream slate. Let's find a play that we can pair with these two, because I really like these two. Did Underdog pull the Keenan Allen props? Underdog still got his fantasy targets up. They'll probably pull those, though. Receptions or targets? I really don't know. I'm going to go receptions. I feel like if he gets 6 targets, he's probably getting 4 catches. Or fantasy. We'll go receptions. All right. We got to find a play to pair with this. What's another one that I like? I don't want to take something I've already took. I would try to find something different. Dude, I was about to take the Phillip Rivers. I can't do that shit. The Shaheed prop. Is that still available? Because I like that one. I like that one. Yeah, let's take that. All right, guys. Another stream slip for today. Quentin Johnston ruled out. I think it's really good for these Chargers receivers. Trey Harris specifically, I really like. He played over 80% of the snaps last time Quentin Johnston was out. Had 5 targets. Yeah, 3.5 fantasy score on Trey Harris is really good. Keenan Allen I like for more than 3.5 receptions. Last time Quentin Johnston was out, he had 7 targets, I believe. Yes, 7 targets and 4 receptions. Tougher matchup, but you know, on the road at Kansas City, 6-point underdogs, like they're gonna have to throw, you would think. And then Shaheed, I do like this prop on Shaheed. I'm running it. Another stream slip. Lock it in if you want to, guys. Trey Harris over 3.5 fantasy. Keenan Allen over 3.5 receptions. Shaheed over 3.5 targets. The 3.5. Hopefully it's 3-0. Let me see if the sports books updated their lines for these Chargers guys. Real quick. I doubt DraftKings has them up yet. Okay, Keenan Allen receptions is not on DraftKings at the moment. I'm gonna post this. I'm gonna post this prop on Patreon or in Discord because this is a really good one. Let's see here. I'm waiting for the sports books to update their lines on these Chargers guys. Ladd went up. Ladd's at 44. So interesting. They pulled Keenan Allen. They pulled Trey Harris lines, but they still have Ladd up. And they didn't really bump Ladd's lines much. I wonder if they're thinking, you know, Ladd doesn't really benefit. Okay, Prizepicks. Okay, DraftKings has Ladd at 44.5 yards. Prizepicks has him at 52.5. I wonder. I feel like DraftKings is behind the 8 ball here. They haven't updated. Interesting. Okay, that just went down from 4.5 to 4. I wonder if they're going to bump receiving yards. Yeah, I love this Trey Harris prop. If it doesn't hit, then oh well, but that's like my favorite play today. I don't think the books were expecting Quentin Johnston to be out. Rashad Bateman out. Quentin Johnston inactive. I want to take a look at these Hopkins props. Did they bump his lines? They didn't bump his lines with Bateman out. Interesting. Let's see if Okay, so they took down Trey Harris receiving yards. They still have him at 1.5 receptions. And then 3.5 fantasy. I mean, both of these are good. Like receptions and fantasy, I think are both really good plays. If these don't hit, then, you know, so be it. But like, these are plays I would bet on hitting a large majority of the time, you know, given the scenario. Okay, receiving yards at 15.5 now. Interesting. What was it before? I can't even remember. Keenan Allen is trash. Look, you can have your opinions on players. I just try and play where the value is. And without Quentin Johnston, I think Keenan Allen, you know, 3.5 receptions is pretty good. Like, taking Quentin Johnston out definitely matters. Because, I mean, Quentin Johnston, like, he averages, like, 6 targets per game, 5 targets per game. So you take those out, those got to go somewhere. The guy who should benefit the most from a playing time jump is definitely Trey Harris, which is why I like Trey Harris props the most, because he's the guy that goes from playing, you know, 50% of the snaps to 70% of the snaps. Like, he gets a big boost in playing time. And there's definitely a chance he plays more and doesn't get any targets, but I mean, last time QJ was out, he played 83% of the snaps. He led the team in snaps last time QJ was out. Okay, well, they just pulled all Keenan Allen's props. They still have Ladd's props up. And they still have Trey Harris's props up, so that's interesting. I was waiting for the sports books to update their lines because I wanted to see where they moved them to. See if DraftKings is updated. Still nothing. Still nothing on DraftKings. Interesting. Yeah, whatever your whatever your favorite play today is, guys, feel free to take these Trey Harris props and pair that with your favorite play, because I'm very, very confident in those. I like those a lot. Underdog pulled Keenan as soon as you said something before I could lock it in. It was on my slip, gone before placing. Yeah, Underdog's a lot faster to take stuff off the board than Prizepicks is. Like, Prizepicks is always slower. Okay, so Underdog has his receptions at 3.5, 0.87x multiplier to the over. So that means, you know, favored to go over. 5.5 targets looks to be gone. So that was probably a good play. 5.5 targets. But either way, what about Trey Harris? Let's see where they have Trey Harris lines at. 15.5 yards, 0.81x multiplier on 1.5 receptions. So pretty heavily favored for 2 receptions. I mean, if Trey Harris gets 2 catches for 16 yards, he's over his fantasy. So Prizepicks bumped his yards up to 20.5. Like, I wouldn't take that. I would take fantasy or receptions. Both of those are just as good. Like, it's really close. He did have 2 receptions in one of these games and not fantasy. He had 2 catches for 4 yards, which is really weird. Like, I feel like that's a very odd way to have a game. But both of those are good. You could probably, like, mix them up. Like, maybe do one lineup with fantasy, one lineup with receptions. Hopefully they both hit, but if you're a little hesitant, like if you don't know which one to take, you could just split them up. What's the Discord link? So Discord's only available for Patreon members. So if you want to get in our Discord, you would have to join Patreon, which it's $20 per month. And when you join Patreon, you get access to the Discord for life. Like, I don't kick you out of the Discord. Unless you're just an idiot and you causing a problem and you're trolling and shit. Like, I don't really put up with that shit. But if you come into the Discord and you're you just act normal and you're chill, you can stay in Discord forever. Like, even if you cancel your Patreon membership. So really, the $20, that's a one-time payment to get into the Discord for life, pretty much. What do you think about Isaiah Likely fantasy score? That was one that I was looking at. It's a really, really good matchup for the Ravens tight ends. The Bengals have been like the worst defense in the NFL against tight ends this year. I was actually liking Likely over 4 targets. They bumped that to 4.5. But it's a really good spot for Likely, no doubt. I think fantasy is totally fine to take. I would probably take fantasy before I took yards or receptions. Like, if he gets 40 yards, he's probably getting 8.5 fantasy because he's going to probably catch like at least 3 or 4 passes to get 40 yards. I mean, last week he had 25 yards, but he had 12.5 fantasy. I'm assuming he scored a touchdown last week. That's probably why. Yeah, he did. But like the Bengals, I think they're giving up like they're giving up the most yards, most receptions, most fantasy points. They're giving up all that to tight ends. Okay, they did take down Trey Harris's receptions. I'm assuming they'll bump the fantasy score at some point. They're always going to be slower to bump fantasy lines. But receptions, it looks like it's gone. Or at least it said it was gone. Yeah, it's gone now. So receptions is gone on Trey Harris, but you still have 3.5 fantasy, which I think is a great play. You like stacking on Prizepicks, like taking Harris over fantasy and over receptions in the same slip? I really don't, because if you look at the payouts, so for example, let's just take yards and receptions, or yards and fantasy, and then let's just pair it with something random. So the payout would typically be, for this, it would be, what? Technically 3x. The payout, it goes to 3.5x. So like, I mean, you could do it. If he gets 20 yards, he probably gets 3.5 fantasy. So like, there's definitely a chance he goes over both. But typically the stacking doesn't really increase the payout that much. But you definitely have to look at it. But yeah, 3.5x, that's okay, I guess. I feel like the more props you add, like the worse it gets. So let's see. Let's do all these and see what it does. So 3 picks, receptions, receiving yards, fantasy, and then longest reception. That takes the payout to 4.5x, which I guess is okay. I mean, you're basically doing a 4-pick lineup to win 4.5x, but you know, it's a lot of your money is on one player, pretty much. I think it all depends on the projections, the thing, you know, the plays. But for this scenario, if you could have gotten Harris fantasy and receptions and put them together, I think that would have been pretty good, because I feel like he goes over both of those. Now that they're starting to bump the lines, you know, there's not as much value now. But if you could have got him before they took him off, then yeah, that could have been fine to do. But I typically don't do the stacking because I think the payouts are just not worth it. Like the payout increase is not worth it, in my opinion. All right, guys, I think we'll wrap up the stream here. We've been live for about 45 minutes. Got some good plays in. Hopefully we can win some money on this NFL slate. Thank you guys for watching. Be on the lookout for content later tonight. I'll have a video for Monday Night Football, and I'll have a video for the NBA slate tomorrow. But yeah, guys, appreciate you tuning in, man. Let's win some money today. We definitely think we got some good plays in during the stream, so let's try and win some money, and hopefully things come through for us. But yeah, good luck, guys. See you in the next one.